Our first story titled, Am I the a-hole for throwing my sister out of my house after she billed me? My sister is a train wreck. She needed a place to stay, and I have a large enough home for an extra person. She has no job or income. I told her she has a few months to get her crap together and leave. I give her about $100 a week to keep my house clean, so she has some cash. I gave my sister her $100 and she said I owed her more. I was confused. She said she did other work for me. I asked her, what more did she do? She said she walks my dog in the afternoon. I walk my dog every morning and evening. But she takes him with her on her afternoon walks. She said the going rate for a dog walker is $25 per walk. 5 times $25 is equal to $125 on top of the $100. Then, she mentions she put together a scrapbook of personal letters and papers. According to her, in Etsy, that job was easily another $75. I told her I never gave her permission to do those things. Her argument is that those jobs fell under the umbrella of keeping the house clean, and I was ripping her off. So, I threw her out. The money isn't the issue. I have plenty of disposable income. I was disgusted how she came at me. Now let's read the comments. Not the a-hole. I would have countered with a bill of food, rent, and utilities. Every time I tried to pull this crap with my dad when I was little, he would counter with that. Show her what real expenses look like. Yeah, one of my sisters did that once. It went over like a turd in a punch bowl. Not the a-hole. Do as she did. Bill her for rent according to local housing prices, her share of water, electricity, internet, groceries, etc. I do this to show her the reality of her situation, to be honest. I'd go all out, sit her down like an intervention, have all of the utility bills to hand, create a budget sheet, etc. If I was being particularly petty, as per the scrapbooking, I'd charge her for the financial consultation too. Not the a-hole. Put this on r/choosing beggars. How she is actually begging. She got $100. Remember that she is living in Opie's house? Also, she gets it every week. And she wants 125 plus more? Yep, that's called a choosing beggar. And the thing is that she originally got the 125 but pushed it too far. Now for the second story, am I the a-hole for saying my sister-in-law is acting really freaking creepy? I am 26 female and my brother Tom is 30. He is married to Emily, 31, and they have a daughter, my niece, who is 3. Emily also has a brother, George, who is 28. I've met George plenty of times and he's a nice guy. We don't really interact much, unless it's for family events or if we're seeing our niece. Anyway, Emily has joked for a while I should date George, as we've always been single at the same times. We just laugh it off every time, as George and I have zero attraction to each other. However, lately Emily has gotten pretty serious about it. I keep telling her to knock it off, and she said it would be great if George and I got together and had a kid because it means our kids would be full cousins on both sides. I told her to stop and she hasn't. She has even going on and on about it, saying she wants her kid to have a cousin that's within her own family and mine, so she doesn't have to get to know another family if I dated someone outside of George. I finally reached my limit and told Emily she's acting really creepy, that she wants me to date and sleep with her brother to provide her with a child so it's a pure cousin of my niece. I also told her that even if I did date someone and had a kid, there is zero chance she'd be involved with her family, or if she was, it would be the bare minimum. I really upset her, and she's been crying to my brother saying how much of a witch I am, and that I accused her of fetishizing her own brother. That is literally not what happened. Tom is demanding I apologize to Emily. George reached out to me and told me he was glad I said something, as his sister wasn't listening whenever he told her to stop. George says I have nothing to apologize for. Am I the a-hole? Time for the top comments. Not the a-hole. That's really creepy thing to push her brother and you into sleeping together just to have a kid. Especially when both parties have told her multiple times back off and she's only crying because she got called out. Not the a-hole. You're right. That is seriously creepy. What the hell? Especially how she just kept pushing the issue over and over again, like she was hell-bent on making it happen despite both of you telling her to drop it. Glad George is backing you up at least, since your brother doesn't have the sense to see how inappropriate his wife was behaving. If this were a rom-com, Opie and George would start seeing one another in a different way right about now. Not the a-hole. Your brother is also not the a-hole. Clearly, if you and George both wanted something to be said, that's great that you stood up to her. But your brother probably got the story from his hurt wife and is doing what a good husband would by trusting her. You were maybe a little harsh on the delivery, but another conversation with her and your brother should be able to clear things up. It's probably best to apologize for the delivery, but stand firm on the fact that the insinuation that you should date George after multiple times saying you both don't want to do, that is offensive. She's been like this for months. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for shouting at my sister for announcing her pregnancy in my 21st? A little backstory. I'm the youngest of 4. As I've grown up, I've always felt like my oldest sister, 30, never liked me, which upsets me because we do not have a lot in common. When I reached my teen years, she had already moved out when she had her first baby. It was also when I started finding my individuality. That is, punk clothing, dark makeup, heavy metal, etc. These are all things she liked when she was my age too. We have other sisters, but she never treats them coldly. Growing up, we were all treated fairly by our parents and were disciplined all the same. She often says she was the one who had to parent us, but that isn't true. Even though our parents divorced, they were still there for us. Reaching 21 is considered a big deal, so when my sisters had their 21st birthdays, they were thrown parties and generally had a great time. It made me excited for my own 21st birthday. By this time, my oldest sister has had 4 children, nieces and nephews that I absolutely adore, but my other sisters were beginning to feel like she was doing it for some kind of approval from our parents. She also lived in a 2-bedroom house which is pretty small for 6 people, and it didn't seem like she looked after her kids well, because they always look unhappy. She always coincidentally announced her pregnancies during big events in my life. That is, award ceremonies, my 16th, getting accepted into performing arts school, etc. Well, one day, whilst preparing a couple weeks in advance for my 21st, one of my other sisters called me to tell me that the oldest was pregnant again, but she hadn't told everyone yet. I was happy to get another niece or nephew, but I felt my stomach drop. I knew what was going to happen, and sure enough, it did. My birthday came. As the cake was being brought out and after I blew out the candles, I hadn't even cut the cake yet when she decided to announce her 5th pregnancy. I was devastated. Aunts and uncles flocked to her, giving her congratulations, while some of my sisters were annoyed she did that. My parents felt awkward, but they went along with it because they didn't want the eldest to feel bad. But I lost it. Years of feeling pushed aside made me crumble. All my sisters had great 21st birthdays, and deep down I knew it was wishful thinking, hoping that mine would be the same. I yelled at my eldest, asking her why she always did this. She looked at me confused, then immediately her lips started quivering, indicating she was about to cry. My sisters were on my side, but everyone else says I was unfair and ruined the whole day. Am I the a-hole? Edit. So that people are aware, my sisters warned her not to announce it on my birthday as they had a feeling she would, but she did it anyway. Edit 2. Yes, I know I could have beaten her to the punchline and announced it myself, but I think she would have thrown a fit about it and ruined everything anyway. Damned if I do, damned if I don't. Edit 3. People are asking why I invited her. My parents did, and I considered uninviting her, but I knew if she wouldn't be allowed to come, she'd make her kids suffer too, and they love being around their cousins. Edit 4. I've mentioned in the comments that my parents are less inclined to confront her due to her manipulative ways of keeping her kids from visiting whenever they try to call her out. If she misses out, her kids suffer with her, and it may end up with CPS being called. Sorry for all the edits. Thanks to everyone commenting. I'm trying to reply to everyone, but I really appreciate it. Now let's read more info and top comments. Wow, not the a-hole. Your sister could have announced it a day before and a day after. She absolutely chose your spotlight moment, and crying doesn't make her right. Your parents really think you are the a-hole? My parents said I could have handled it better and should have spoken to her after everyone had left for the night. I do agree with handling it better. I didn't want to yell at her in front of everyone, but I was kind of in the moment. I think my parents know she can be a bit difficult, but they would rather side with her so she doesn't pull a tantrum. Bear in mind, she's 10 years older than me, so you think she'd act more of an adult than me. Not the a-hole, but try not to feel bad. You'll have a great life. And she's 30, in a 2-bedroom house, with 5 kids, that she obviously can't afford, and isn't a good parent to. If she gets some sense of winning by trying to overshadow your accomplishments, it's all in her head. Thank you very much. Don't get me wrong, I adore my nieces and nephews, but I worry now because of this, she won't let me see them anymore. She's done similar to my parents for less. This may sound cold, but you just turned 21. I think you should go be free from her negativity and drama. Do you really want to be held hostage to her moods and whims for the rest of your nieces and nephews' lives? Or childhoods, I guess. Besides, she needs you more than you need her. I bet she really needs all the help she can get with her kids. 5 kids in 1 bedroom? I really can't get over it. You're 100% in the right here, and I wouldn't back down, apologize, or try to broker her peace with her. Let her come to me, or not. But that's just me, and I'm far too old and too fed up with family drama to play into it anymore. That isn't cold at all. Thank you for your input. It really helps. I won't lie, I was very young when she had her firstborn, and I was there for her as much as I could be, feeding the baby, bathing, cleaning, taking care of, etc. But this was when she was still living at home, until she found a place of her own. She has a loving partner that she takes for granted, and a lot of support. But it's hard to be there for her when she seems to shut us out or uses her kids to get what she wants from us. I feel like this is how it's always going to be, but I will give it one more try before I start living for myself. Thank you again. Final story. Am I the a-hole for proving my mom has a favorite kid? I'm the youngest of 3 kids. My bro, 28, my sis, 26, and me, 23 female. My brother and I have always had a running joke that my sister is the golden child, but it's not really a joke. My mom always put more effort into my sister and was involved in everything she did, while my brother and I were left home alone to do whatever. I couldn't get braces because my sister needed new dance shoes. My brother had to quit football because his practice overlapped with sister's dance classes, etc. Over the years, the golden child joke has started a few arguments because mom insists she doesn't. One thing that always annoyed me was an issue around swearing. My parents forbid any type of swearing when I was a kid, and if we did, she'd ground us for up to a month. But as we each turned 18, they loosened up. Now, my brother loves to use the F word in every sentence, and my mom always scolds him for it. If I use it, she tells me off to, and when I was living at home, she would take my car keys as punishment. My sister, however, swears like a sailor, and I have never heard/seen my mom even blink an eye at it. Recently, we visited our parents' place where my sister still lives, and she was talking and swore. Mom did nothing. 5 minutes later, I noticed our dog had peed inside, and I swore. Mom yelled at me. I asked her why my sister didn't get in trouble. Mom said she hadn't heard her swear. They were standing next to each other. So over the rest of the day, every time our sister swore, my brother or I would then swear too. Mom kept telling us off, but never told my sister off, so we pointed it out to her and said it was because sis is her favorite kid. She literally never gets in trouble. My mom lost it, yelled at us that we were ungrateful, bitter, that she'd made us move out. We both had issues with sister, and she asked us to move out so sis wouldn't be upset. And always picked on sis for no reason. This caused a fight, and my mom looked to my dad to defend her, but he took our side and said he told her over the years she had to stop favoring sis. Mom got even angrier and demanded bro and I leave. Since then, Mom has been sending us both mean messages about being ungrateful and rude. My sister, who hasn't spoken to me since February, also texted and called me a bitter old C, and that I was jealous because she was better than me, and I knew it. She's always told me she was better than me, which is what caused a lot of our fighting because I believed her, and it affected my mental health. My and bro's partners both think we should have just let sleeping dogs lie, because we just ruined an already strained family relationship. I'm starting to think I should have just kept my mouth shut, like I always have, but my brother stands by it. Am I the a-hole? And now for the top comments. My and bro's partners both think we should have just let sleeping dogs lie, because we just ruined an already strained family relationship. You didn't break anything, you just pointed out all of the cracks and holes in the foundation. Then your mom and sis started stomping on them to bring the rest of the house down. Not the a-hole. I love that your dad took your side on this, and also that your sister called you C via text message in response to an argument about your sister not being punished for swearing. Your mom is just angry that you pointed out her hypocrisy. Send mom a screenshot of the text and ask how long sister is grounded for that word. I'll bet you $10 mom claims Photoshop. She won't even bother with that. It'll just be OP's fault for not being nicer. Doesn't she know how much stress sis is under? She can't be expected to behave nicely, and it's all everyone else's fault. Opie, get thee to therapy. And also brace yourself. In however many decades, hopefully a lot, when your parents pass away, sis will absolutely expect you and bro to provide for and enable her like her parents did for the rest of her days, and will fly into the mother of all rages when you don't. Be aware. Not the a-hole, but she is not going to change. Maybe go low contact and start hanging with people who are good for you. Low contact with mom, more contact with dad, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You've done your efforts for making your mom realize that she has favoritism. Kudos to your dad for siding with you both. And she's a literal narcissistic person, and your younger sister could have been influenced by her. And you and your brother's sake, it's better to leave them be. Narcissists won't listen to you at all. They need a sharp slap reality before they realize they're wrong, if they will get to that point. The sister is actually older, which is surprising because all I hear is favoritism towards younger children. And that's all for this video. As always, comment, like, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe, everyone.